Hi, it's James Taylor, keynote speaker on creativity, innovation and artificial intelligence and the founder of Speakers U. Today I'm in beautiful Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. I've just spoken at an event here. I was brought in to come and give the keynote at an event, and an interesting thing came up in the process of preparing for this speech and giving the speech yesterday. It was this idea that the lawyers often refer to, which is know your client. Sometimes when you're brought in to speak at an event, there will be almost like multiple parties, multiple stakeholders in a particular event, and this event was no different. So for example, you might have the bureau that's initially booked you to come in to speak at an event like this one. You will have maybe an events company whose job it is to ensure that the event is successful, looks great, sounds great. You will have the client, the people that are actually paying the check or paying your fee as a speaker. You will have the audience in there, and there will be different parties in that audience as well. And obviously there's yourself. Where do you sit as a speaker in all this? So this is kind of my order of importance, I guess, on knowing your client, who the end client is, who are you there to serve. And my answer might be slightly unusual. There's an expression in the music industry which is the singer should serve the song. Which means that as a singer, as a performer, your ultimate responsibility, especially if you're, say, a jazz singer, is to serve the song. If someone wrote this song, your job is to really embody the message that's in that song, what it's trying to get, the emotion that you're trying to get across. There's a great phrase which says that people will forget what you say, but they should never forget how you make them feel. And when you go and give a speech, I believe your first client almost is the message. Is the message that you're trying to communicate, to convey to the audience. That message could be encapsulated by a feel. It could be encapsulated by a mental thing that you just want them to leave, just remembering it, echoing the next days and weeks and years. So I'd say number one client for me is the message. In my case, it's about creativity and what I call super creativity. So that's for me is a number one client. After that, for me, the next client is yourself as the speaker. If you work up a speech and you can't even please yourself with a speech, if you can't feel, wow, that's really good, that's really strong, then you probably shouldn't be up there on stage giving the speech. You have to be able to be happy with what you're saying and the speech you're giving. And this can sound a little bit self-confident or maybe arrogant or egotistical, and it's not meant to be that at all. But the idea is you have to really embody what you're saying. You're there to have integrity, to have truth in what you're saying. So it's very, very important that when you get up there on stage, first of all, is the message. That's the number one thing. You're trying to serve that message. Then you're trying to have integrity with what you're saying, so you fully embody that message. That's the next most important thing. And then we have the actual audience themselves. Now, this is an interesting thing. The audience is not always the same as the client. So the audience are those people whose eyes are looking up at you, whose ears are listening to you, who are taking in this information that you're saying on stage. And so whenever I'm doing my pre-event calls and working up my speeches, after I know I've got my core message there, and after I've kind of gone through it myself and feel, well, I'm happy with this, then I have to do a check and feel, well, based upon the conversations I've been having about what the client want, and I also use things like artificial intelligence to look at this, they assess the audience as well in advance. Will the speech work for the audience? Will this audience enjoy it? Is there enough interaction going on? All the things that you should be learning as a good speaker. So you're looking to serve them next, the audience. But they're not often the first. So you're thinking message, then you're thinking yourself, your own integrity, yourself as a speaker. Then you're thinking about the audience, serving that audience. And then after that, then you're thinking about the client themselves. Now, I put the audience above the client. And the reason I say that is because sometimes the client says, we want X, Y, Z, and they really feel that. But as a speaker, if you've had enough experience speaking, you should be able to take that in, triangulate it a little bit, and think, well, but what does the audience really want? You have experience on being on the stage, of being there. You're the person with the microphone with the light on them. You have that responsibility for that 30 minutes, 45 minutes, however long it is, to serve that audience. So you have to have real focus on that. And then after you have the audience, you have obviously the client themselves. And the client's probably giving you lots of information about what they want. When you do your pre-event call, you're probably going through a checklist, making sure that there's key things they want you to say. Maybe there's things that they want you to kind of avoid saying. I'm in the Middle East just now, so there's certain things you have to be quite careful about doing. There's cultural aspects as well. So after you've talked about the client, then it comes probably to the bureau. And the speaker bureaus might not be happy for me saying this, but in the overall list of things, they are further down, because if the audience is happy, then the client is happy. And if the client is happy, then the bureau will be happy. So you have to cascade it down like that. So let me just give you a quick recap again. Number one is the message. That's what you're there to serve. Number two is you. You've got to be happy with your speech. If you don't have that passion, if you don't embody what you're saying on stage, why are you up there? Then it's got to be the audience. And then we have the client, and then we have the bureau, if there's a bureau that's brought you in as well. And there may be, between the bureau and the client, there may be an event company as well. So they sit kind of between the client and the bureau. So hopefully that's been useful to you, knowing who your client is. As I say, it's complex, not complicated. So there's multiple parties going on, something that's called stakeholder management in MBA type speak. But I hope this has served you. I hope this has given you some ideas for your next speech. When sometimes you have those conversations and you feel that the audience is wanting one thing and the client's wanting another and the bureau is wanting another and the event company's wanting another thing. If you work your way through it in that order, then you're going to give a great speech. My name's James Taylor. Thanks for watching. How would you like to get paid to travel the world to share your message and expertise? How would it feel to get paid $5,000, $10,000 or $25,000 to travel first class and stay in 5-star hotels in exotic locations? What I've just described is the lifestyle of international keynote speakers. And you can join me and over 100 of the world's best keynote speakers and speaker trainers as they reveal their secrets to becoming a better speaker and getting booked to travel the world as a professional keynote speaker. And best of all, as it's an online summit, you don't even have to leave home. Plus, it's not going to cost you a single dollar, euro, pound, ruble, peso, or yen if you sign up for the free pass at internationalspeakersummit.com. You're going to receive access to never seen before video interviews with over 40 of the world's best keynote speakers. In addition to this, you'll get access to archive interviews from some of last year's summit guests. So in total, you'll be able to watch in-depth interviews with over 100 incredible speakers and speaker trainers. You'll learn how to find a theme for your keynote presentation, how to craft your talk, how to get booked as a speaker, how much to charge, and ways to get paid to speak on stages all over the world. So what are you waiting for? Head over to internationalspeakersummit.com now.